We've had months of Ron DeSantis hitting Mickey Mouse on a daily basis. Well, the mouse finally hit back with Disney launching a lawsuit just yesterday against Governor Ron DeSantis and his administration, alleging that the state's recent many actions, and we'll go through a lot of them, toward the company have amounted to a targeted campaign of retribution from the government in response to their constitutionally protected free speech or their protected speech. They accuse the DeSantis administration in part of violating the company's First Amendment rights, citing the governor's recent statement that the board would hold, quote, Disney accountable. Bear in mind, he's said way more than that, and not just in speeches and appearances. He wrote about his war against Disney in his book, The Courage to Be Free, which he totally wrote, saying that fighting against them is a triumph against woke corporatism. I mean, the woke thing couldn't make it any more clear that this is about their speech. This is about culture. This isn't about their business, their tax structure, their authority over their own geography. This is about him fighting against the woke or whatever. They say that this has been an orchestrated effort to stifle the company's free speech. Now, I don't have any legal training. I've watched a little bit of some procedural courtroom shows, but I wasn't really paying attention. And so I turn now to Farron. What do you think about this lawsuit? Did you see this coming, and do you think they have a shot?
I think they 100% have like one of the strongest cases out of pretty much any of the lawsuits that are in the news right now. Like this one, this is a slam dunk. Like you just pointed out, he already said it in his book. Like your own words have already proven that you did this for political reasons, not because you cared about the tax district, not to mention the fact that there are literally dozens of other special tax districts throughout the state of Florida alone. So if it was about a special tax district, you would have done it to everybody, not just the one company that decided, we don't like your don't say gay legislation. But what I love about this, because when the story first came out yesterday, my immediate, reaction was, why didn't we do this a year ago? I mean, that's when this whole fight started and the first legislation was passed. Why didn't you do it then? But then I started thinking about Disney movies, right? You know, you've got the villain. The villain is doing the build up. They're doing these horrible things. And sometimes the villain is very popular. But eventually, the tide turns against the villain. And that is exactly what Disney was waiting for. Ron DeSantis right now is at the weakest point he's ever been. And this is a guy who just won re-election by 1.5 million votes in Florida, something that has not happened for decades in any statewide election. So he had the wind at his back. He was, on the precipice of usurping that front runner status from Donald Trump. He was polling ahead in Iowa, polling ahead in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
But then everybody got a taste of it and saw, wow, this guy's really, really bad. Like not just, his policies are bad, but he's bad at public speaking. He's bad at dealing with people. He doesn't have any actual ideas other than culture wars. Billionaires are pulling out from him. Ken Griffin, Thomas Petterfy, all of those individuals are looking at him like, dude, we're kind of done with you. Disney saw that and said, now's the time we get him because everybody in this country is turned against him. We can take him down. So I think it was a brilliant strategy. Again, at first it was like, why didn't we do this sooner? But now it's like, okay, I totally get it. You don't want to take him on when he's at the height of his popularity because everybody's going to be against you. Now they're against him. That's when you strike.
Yeah, you don't attack him when he's strong. And also that would be too short. That's not dramatically interesting. The Disney lawyers were driven off by DeSantis at his strongest. They went into the jungle, ate grubs, sang songs, and now they've come out bulked up. Ron DeSantis has stripped Florida of all of its food and the hyenas are starting to get desperate. And I think it's their time to strike. Bearing in mind that like a lot of companies could either want to or even try to launch this sort of lawsuit, but they wouldn't necessarily have the size and the money to be able to keep it going for a year, 2 years, 3 years. But Disney has a lot of money. If they feel like this is important, then they potentially can keep it going.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.